Okay, hi, welcome back. So I think today we are going to discuss regarding CSS, right? So we have completed most of the things on HTML, like we know what the HTML is exactly and what are the tags available in HTML and attributes, about attributes also. I think I have shared you last class the complete list of the docs, right? What are the attributes belongs to which tags and all, right? That oh, docs I have not shared, but yeah, I think I have explained, right? Okay, okay. So I have not shared. So I'll just share it today. Okay. So I think we have completed lots of things in the HTML. We have understood like so many tags and how the forms created and what are the multiple or different elements we can include in the form. Like other than form, we have checked with tables and some like head tags and different tags of the HTML. So I think which we have got some escalator kind of things we have understood like in some label, but not in the like what we can say like practical manner. We have not done anything till now. So in spite of that, like once we are trying to go for CSS first, so we'll try to complete CSS, and after completing CSS, actual practice will start. So what will be there? Like I'll be giving you small. I think already have discussed regarding this, right? I'll be giving you small pages or designs of all the tags first. First, we'll go for all the tags, making it beautiful. Like as I told, like once we create a button, it will be like very dummy type button. But I wanted to create the button in beautiful manner, like it should look in different like designs and all. I'll be giving for only for button. So you have to design button in the same way. So next we'll move on to input text, then we'll move on to text area, then we'll move on to each of the tags or elements, like making it a very proper manner and all. Then we try to include all those things in one div that we'll try to do, and then we'll create some form. So these are the steps we are going to follow, so that steps you will be getting more knowledge and more idea on how to make it proper, like designings and all. So that we'll be going to see. Okay, so as we know, like CSS, cascading style set, right? So this gives a look and feel of the HTML file, right? Generally, when we create HTML file, it will just give you just like very black and white design kind of thing. Like just gives us like a skeleton type things. So now we are going to add some colors, stylings, and all. That is possible only with the CSS. CSS is the best stream we can say. Okay. So how to add the CSS? Basically, we have to first create a CSS. Either in the three way are there. Like one is direct, including in the HTML file. So that things we are seeing. But first, let's understand like what is CSS basically. So it's like describes, as I suggest, like yeah, it describes the design or presentation of the HTML tags, like more beautiful and all. So these are the way like we categorize like layout. So layout in the sense means in which form you are going to display your data, either in the row wise, either in the column wise, or where you wanted to, how the things you wanted to display. So that is a layout. Appearance means like how it is going to appear. Okay, so that things we are going to see. And then behavior means like let's suppose when you are going to click button or when you are going to hover on the mouse, right? So over on the mouse, what CSS means, let's suppose if I'm hovering on the text, it should just change it to red, something like that. So based on the behavior, so based on this all categories, we are to going to write the CSS for our HTML file. Okay, so writing the CSS first, the syntax is here. First is selector. Selector is nothing but it's like a what tags or what are the fields of the HTML which we are going to provide the CSS. It might be the tags, it might be class, it might be IDs. Okay, so it might be a child element of the tags. So multiple things will be there. We are going to provide the CSS. So that name will be provided, or that IDs or class name will be provided here. Okay, with curly bracket, and we have to provide properties and values. It similar looks like a object creation type, right? So properties, values, but only the difference will be here. There will be semicolon as it property value stays. Okay, so semicolon, and the property, regarding the property also we'll discuss like what are the available property on each label of tags. That also have researched and have kept. Like see, some tags we can provide, these are the list of properties we can provide. Okay, other properties we can't apply on that tags. So something like restricteds are there. So all those research I have done, I have kept it for you people. So that in category wise, in some like a structure manner, if you'll study everything, then it will be easy for us to recall the things and apply the things before going to do the CSS thing. Okay, so one thing here I have mentioned, like it's a table. So basically I'm going to, I have created one table and I'm going to apply the border for the table. So border is like the outline of the table. So generally when we create the table, it won't have any border, right? Last classes we have seen in the HTML. So nothing is there, just a space are there and there written some columns and row. But now we are going to provide the border. So to provide the border to the table, we are just writing the border properties. These are the one of the properties which we are going to explore lot many properties in our classes. Okay, so one properties and writing 1px. 1px is nothing but it's a size width of the border. Like is it 1px like thin width, that line, or it's a thick border? So that is the one. And solid and other properties are there. Okay, dashed, solid. So solid means there is no gap between the line. Dashed means it should be like dash, gap, dash. So that is dashed. Okay, so something like that things are there, like some different values are there. Okay, so types of values are there, so that we are going to add. And then the color. So color will also have the RGB and hexadecimal representation of the color. So which we are going to discuss like in the color part. Okay, so once we provide these three, then it will just create a border to the table with that whatever color we provide, and it should be solid. There is no gap between the lines. So that we are going to see. So this is just one example. Like if you want to provide table this border, then this is the way we are going to write the CSS. Okay, understood this line? Okay, so now comes with the selector part. Like now I told like I applied only for the table. Table is nothing but it's a tag, right? So now how many way we can apply the things? Okay, so one first is universal. Universal is star, denoted by star. So when we write in our web page or any HTML file in the CSS page, when we write star, that denotes like we are applying that CSS entire that HTML file to all the elements which is applicable for that properties. Okay, so generally when you go to any web page, you will see this type of a star, because by default also some tags will come with the styling, like either their font size or their margin, padding. Like when you write the paragraph, you will see already stylings will be added to that default styling. So we might need like, okay, I don't want any default styling. I want to create entire website by my own writing CSS. So that time what we do, we just go to universal star and we just make it margin, padding, border and colors and everything in like default, so that we can apply by ourselves and it should be in our control more. So that is the reason we'll go for star. Understood? That is universal. So it will apply for entire HTML page, but it won't apply for other HTML, right? It will only for the one page at a time. Okay. Now next is the element. Element already you know, like we can apply for, we have multiple elements, right? We have a span element, paragraph element, H1 to H6 element, table element, select element, and UL element. So many elements are there. So directly with their name you can write and you can apply some properties. So these properties only we are going to see. Okay, what are the actual we have to write here as a name. Okay, so all those things we are going to, but this is a multiple way to apply. So one is element, one is universal, other is ID. I have explained when I was explaining about class and IDs, right? I was telling you like, yeah, ID means it should be the unique, and if you provide the CSS only to that IDs it will apply. And ID should not be duplicate. Like in one page you can't write two IDs with a name para, right? So it should be the unique styling. If you want to provide to a specific like element, that time we'll go for the IDs. Okay, understood this much? Okay. Next is attribute. Already we know we have lots of attribute we have seen, like source attribute, input type, number, all those attributes we have seen. So based on attribute also we can provide, like see in input we have multiple types, like one is text, one is email, one is password, right? So in different like types of the inputs, based on their attribute label, how we can apply the attribute styling. So we might need like in one place, we need like all the inputs should be in red border, but only the input which is having number, that should be in green border. Might have that type of requirement. So we might write for first input to all the same styling, and then next line again we write the input type text or type number to some other styling. Okay, and one more thing I want to add in CSS. In CSS, whichever you write, like let's suppose you have written paragraph and styling, but again if you write the down somewhere paragraph and styling, no, that down paragraph will be overridden because it will work on the top to bottom approach. So whichever bottom will be the current styling that will be applied and that will be override the previous one. Okay, so these things keep in mind. Okay, so whatever latest you have written at the down, that will be applied for the previous one. If you think like, okay, first I have applied paragraph as red, but down you somewhere you have kept paragraph as yellow, and now you are seeing the UI, it's coming yellow. So you'll get like already you have written paragraph as red. Why it's coming yellow? Because you might have written either in the inline or either in the same page down somewhere paragraph as red. Okay, so that will be the difference. It will come. So overriding kind of things. Now you can see the class already we have seen, right? So we can add multiple classes also. We have seen that as well. Okay. Now we have seen child. Like see, UL has the list child, right? So I wanted to create all the list with some different stylings or colors or some borders or menu item I want to create. So all those things we can do using arrow symbol. Okay. So this type of selectors are also available. Okay. Next, so we have studied like okay CSS we are applying. We understood like okay it's a style, but now we have only HTML file till now we have created, right? So how to include the CSS to our HTML? What are the different way to include CSS? So different way to include CSS is three. We have external CSS, we have internal CSS, we have inline CSS. So what are the different way of adding the CSS to your HTML file? These three denotes. Okay, so we'll check one by one. Okay, so external CSS first we'll go for. External CSS is nothing but like we have one file called index.html. Okay, so instead of writing on the same file applying CSS, we will do one thing. We will create another file called index.css. Okay, that is one file. So in that file we will write and we will take reference of this HTML only. Means we are telling like bind this index.css to this HTML. I'm writing for this HTML only. So whatever this HTML is present index.html, whatever element is there, that element reference only you are taking to this CSS. Okay, but you are writing all the CSS based on that HTML, right? So let's suppose you have written like h1 tag or paragraph tag and all. You have written some stylings and all. So to that styling, now it is good for you, like you have written separately CSS. Now in future, if you want to change that styling, like let's suppose I don't want paragraph to be red, I want paragraph to be yellow. But if you include on the same HTML file, then you have to check where is the paragraph tag in entire page. But if you write separate CSS, then you can just go to that paragraph in CSS and just change the red to green. So it will apply to all the HTML. So that benefits are there in external CSS. Okay, but that external CSS has to apply, right? Any file to, if you want to link to file, there should be some linkage, right? So that linkage we are doing using link tag. Okay, so in head section we are writing link tag, that is also one tag inside head. So we are writing relation. What is the relation of our file to this HTML? So our file is CSS file, so basically it's a style sheet. This is also predefined, we can't change ourselves, right? So relation we are writing style sheet. And href means reference from which file. So you have to give the file path. Wherever your CSS file is there, that path you have to provide. Either it should be dot dot slash, it's inside some other CSS folders or any other parent directory, child directory. It might be anywhere, but you have to give the path. You should not write like simply like dot CSS and you should like, okay, it's working. No. You have to give the proper path. If it is in the same place, then you have to write, you can write the file name. If it is in the folder, inside some different nested directory, then you have to write some dot dot slash or dot slash or something like that you have to write. Follow that, okay? The path. So if you write this path, automatically that CSS will be linked to this HTML and whatever style you have written, that will be applied to this HTML. Got it? So with this advantage will be like one thing like HTML is another page, CSS is another page. So your code looks more cleaner. That is one thing. This CSS can be applied to other HTML, correct? Because we have one CSS, we can apply to multiple HTML. Here now I'm including .css. Other place also I'm including .css. But whenever we change this CSS, every pages will apply. You can't tell like, okay, I wanted to, if you wanted to make a specific CSS for a specific HTML, then you have to create a separate, you don't need to mention. But let's suppose you are writing like some generic one. Like let's suppose throughout my application, the paragraph size should be font size as 20px. So that you wanted to do. Okay. So that means like you are writing in the separate CSS file and you are making generic for entire application should follow. Means all the HTML paragraphs should be consistent. It should have 30 pixel. It should have red color. So it should be entire page, it should be red color. If you want to change in some of the pages, that is also mechanism is there. We are going to see in the next. Okay. So understood about external. So let's go and practice it. Okay. So you can see my screen, right? So we can just write here enter. So we have got some small this one and all. Okay. So let's create a paragraph. Okay. And let's write a link tag. Okay, so I'm not writing the same page, okay, CSS in the because to make you more like understanding purpose to depth level, I'll just write create a CSS folder. Okay, create a CSS folder, and then I'll create a index.css. I could write directly copy here and paste here. But if I could link, then you could be might be like later you might be like telling like okay, I learned in this way, but I don't know how to go for folder way. If somewhere if you want to add all your CSS in one folder, then again you'll feel difficulty like how I can reference now this folder. That is the reason I'm making it somewhat complex as of for the first time only. Okay, so now you have to refer this index.css, which is inside the CSS folder. I think I'll make zoom so that you people can see more. Okay, so see, now I wanted to reference this CSS for this HTML, right? So in this CSS, I'll just write, as we studied, like we can write a paragraph, P, curly bracket, and we can write the styling. So here is the paragraph. So I wanted to do some styling. So let's do some styling. So we have not studied till now any styling properties and all, but at least somehow we have got the knowledge, like we have some color basics. So we have some color as red, okay, and we have some font size as 30px. Okay, that's two. Just I'm creating a font size and color. So I'm saving it. Till now you will see you will not have any effect for paragraph because I have not included that, right? So open with live server already you know, but okay. So I think fine. So I'll this also. Okay, able to see? Yeah. Yes, yes. Yeah. Okay, you're able to see. Okay, you told yes, sir. I thought you were asking some questions. Okay, so let's do this inspect and let's see. Okay, so when you over on this paragraph, I have not applied any CSS, right? CSS is in another file. I have not binded also that CSS to here. But still you can see the paragraph has these all properties. Can you see? Who wrote these properties? I didn't wrote. You didn't wrote. So this comes with the default. So it says display as a block. Display as a block means, as we know, paragraph can occupy entire space, right? Complete row. So that calls as this. It's a block level element I used to tell you, right? So it's a display block. So by default, it is display block. Okay, so that properties has been provided. Block margin, some margin. See, you can see some spaces there. It's not like in the last. So some margin, some padding. So that we'll discuss like what is margin, what is padding and all those things. But as for now understand like some of the properties already it has been applied by default. So that is the reason if you want to go for any application, first you will be seeing one style.css. There will be generic CSS file that will be star and will be margin padding 0, font 0, everything they will make 0 default so that it will be at a small stage so that we can apply by our own. Okay, so that are things people will be doing as a good practice. Okay, so now we have done. So we can see whatever CSS we have written, nothing is applied here, right? And if you see the element in the head, you can see we have written the link, but there is no any href because we have made the href as empty. So now we are going and adding the href. So let's try to href. So we can see this folder, first of all, this folder is besides of the index.html, right? Besides means a sibling, right? So if it anything is sibling, then just write dot slash or slash. That's it. Okay. So this is one. Now, what we are writing, we have one folder, right? So that is called CSS. So we'll write CSS. Now inside CSS, what is the file that is called index.css? So we'll write slash index.css. Okay, so this is the reference you have to do. Now another way is, let's suppose I'm just clicking here HTML and I'm just writing style dot CSS. Okay, so if I want to include this style.css in index.html, I will just do one thing. I'm just doing the copy paste, but in that case, because style.css is the sibling of this index.html, right? In the same folder and same side by side. So for that reason, you can just write a style.css. I'm just teaching you about the path because maximum people will miss out the path. Okay, so this is style.css. Okay, so this is the two-way reference we can do. If it is somewhere inside the folder, then first we have to go to the folder and then we have to go to this one. And let's suppose now this index.html is there. It is inside one folder. This is HTML is also it's inside the folder. So if that should be the case, then what we'll do to come out of the folder, we have to write dot dot slash. Okay, let's suppose the CSS is this batch, this basically this main folder is batch API, right? But CSS is outside of the batch API. So what we have to, and we are calling from index.html. So index.html is inside the batch API folder, but CSS is outside batch API folder. So we have to access that CSS. Means I wanted to show this thing. Like when you go to document, here is the batch API, right? Inside batch API, you can see there is a folder, there is a file called index.html, right? And backside of batch, here is a batch API. But let's suppose somewhere here I have created the CSS. Let's suppose, I'm just denoting. Somewhere here I have created. So to access this, because index.html is inside this folder, so to access the outside files of the batch API, first we have to come out of this batch API. Right, we have to come out of this batch API. So to come out of the folder, we have to do dot dot slash. Okay, so let's suppose I have, I'll just create it here, one folder, okay, called style. Okay, see it very carefully, see it very carefully. Okay, style. And I have created one file. Okay, I'll just open that folder. I'll go to download document, and here somewhere it was the batch API, right? But side by side also I created the style. Okay, in other HTML I'm just creating. So I'm just writing index.css. Okay, and I'm just doing some color as red, p tag, blue. Okay, so see this folder. Now I'll close this. Okay, now come here. Now basically my task is now batch API is there, index.html is there. So in index.html file, I don't want this CSS folder data. I want backside going to style, somewhere it might be there. Okay, going to a style folder and then going to this index.css. So this file I want to reference to other folder. Okay, so in that scenario, what you have to do? First, you are inside batch API folder index.html. So first come out of this folder. So if you do dot dot slash, you will come out of the folder. So you came out of the batch API folder. Now out of the batch, see, you can see here batch API, right? Correct. So you are now outside of the batch API folders. That's why you are seeing all the list of the folder outside the batch API. So now you can search where is style folder. Okay, so this is the style folder. Now what is that style folder? Index.css. So index.css. Understood the path, like how to write, when to write dot dot slash, when to write dot slash, when to write direct name. Got clear? Okay, how to reference file. So this is also very important, like when you go, because sometimes what happens, no, you will write the style, but it won't affect. And you don't know like it is affecting or not. And you'll feel like, okay, I have included a file, no, why it's not affecting? And you'll destroy your time. So instead of that, one thing is, yeah. Hmm. But important, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, so if you wanted to get to know like whether whatever imported link I have done, whether that is working or not, or let's suppose I have written and I am fully confident like it will work, but might somewhere I have missed something, right? So in that scenario, to verify it, you go to again web page, okay? Go to again web page. Already this is loaded, right? Because it's a live server, right? I'll refresh once again. So it's a web page. Now, if you want to verify whether my CSS is applied or not, or whether my CSS is there or not, just I'll go to do inspect and I'll go to source. There is one tab called source. Okay. Okay, I might included the this one. Okay. Where is that file? Here some. Okay, I think. Here also we can see some CSS style.css is there, but normally I have included, I think, maybe React build I have done. So maybe because of that it's not coming through. What is the reason? Okay, or else we can go here in head tag and then we can click it to this one. Okay, it's not applying. Why it is? Maybe because of like I have outside of the things I have kept, or what is the case? Okay, some errors also I'm getting. The error is okay, because I'm opening with this server, so basically that should be inside this server because live server is working with this folder structure. But I have out of the folder structure, I have kept this style. But this server linkages to this link. Okay, but this will implement why the reason it's not showing mains. See, whenever I'm running this open server, what it does, it will just treat this folder as one server. Okay, and the link, whatever the IP address we are seeing here on the file, this IP address belongs to only accessing to this folder, not outside this folder. Because now it treats like this is the application, entire application files is in this entire ecosystem, not the outside of the ecosystem. So that is the reason it's not able to access the previous one because outside of this batch API, there is no server. Right, so that is the reason it's not able to access this file because I have kept in some other like other than this folder. I am running the server from this folder. That is the reason it's not able to access. But anyway, if I'll not do that, if I'll try to access this, but at least you got to know like how to access, how to create the path. You will never do such type of things, I know, but just to show you some example, I have done like that. Okay, so I'll just delete this. Instead of that, I'll just go /css / index.css. Okay, so I've done this. Now let's go and check once again. So you can see the effect is there. That is one thing. Okay, and then when you verify, already you have verified like red is coming, you have verified. But still, if you want to verify, then just go to source. It's not coming. I don't know. Okay, or else go to element and just go to this CSS. You can see the CSS things are there. Okay, if it is not linkage, no, it won't come. The properties and all the things will not come. Okay. Wait one second. Why it's not? It should come basically. The file should load here. The file, I think in your page it might comes. Tell me. Top. Okay. Okay. Everything I have done. Okay, I don't know. Maybe why it's not coming. We'll see. Anything if I'll search, no, like if I search, let's suppose index something other things are coming. Okay, anyway, it's fine. I think for you people it might come. Okay, try to check with that. Okay, so here the file will come, or else. Okay, one second. Here is the one. Checking there. So here you can see view page source. Okay, I missed it. I went to inspect. View page source. So if you do view page source, you can see this is the one, and here is the linkage, right? So just click it here. If it is mapped properly, you will see the another file index.css to be placed here. But if the URL is wrong, then you can't able to click this. If you click, nothing will happen. Or here some star mark will come, red star mark. Like, okay, this some mismatch is there, something like that. Got it? So this is the page source which you have added. Understood? So this is one thing like I wanted to just show. So we can add CSS in the separate file and we can include as a external using link tag. So this you understand very properly, link tag. Okay, inside the head you have to add. Got it? Now let's go to, okay, so this is done. Advantage is like clean HTMLs, reusability, like you can apply the same CSS to other files as well, wherever you want to use, right? And this has, we can say, a less priority, or I think now I should not say these all. Okay, let's see in the next. So that I wanted to make you understand, like, see, there are multiple way to add the CSS, but which has the higher priority? That we have to understand. Okay, so another way is internal CSS. Internal CSS is nothing but in the same HTML file, in style we create one tag called a style tag, and there whatever CSS will write, that will apply to the same HTML. Okay, so instead of that, now we are going to this page. Okay, and we are writing here style. Okay, and we are writing here itself some CSS, like let's suppose I'll write paragraph. Okay, this time I'll write color as blue. Okay, now you see here on the top I have written index.css, right? I'll delete this. On the top I have written index.css before this style tag, right? Or else I'll comment this now. As per now, I wanted to make you some other things to also note down. Okay, now styling I have done, and now you go and see blue, because I have written styling as blue. So this is one way to include CSS in internal file. Like inside the file, somewhere on the top, like in the head, you write one style tag, and whatever CSS for this body inside, whatever element you have created, all the CSS you are writing in this place. Okay, some other CSS you are writing. So in the same. So this is good, but this has some limitation, like you can't reuse this, right? You can't reuse this, and it is like kind of private also, right? Because it became private to only this file. For other file, let's suppose external CSS are there, and for other file you also have included, and that file needs some other style, and you have changed to that main, then it will affect to this HTML also. So that drawback it will avoid. So some private kind of things, features it's giving. Okay, so within the HTML tag. Understood? Now, another thing we have to note it down. I have external CSS, I have internal CSS. External CSS also has the styling, internal CSS also has the styling. So which will be preferred? And how they have placed and how it is preferred. Like either, so let's suppose I'm just talking about this. So if you see this index.css, there is a paragraph tag. There I have written color as red, font size as 30, right? And in HTML, immediate after this, I have written one style tag, and here I have written again paragraph, and I have written color as blue. Okay, color as blue, but I have not mentioned font size as 30 or 40 or 10 or 12. So what will happen? First, parsing will happen from top to bottom. So from top to bottom, it will check, okay, link to this CSS. Okay, it will go to this CSS and it will apply the paragraph, all this style. So first it will be color red, font size 30. Okay, now again it will go to next line. It will say, okay, style, okay, paragraph, okay, color blue, okay, blue. But it will just do the color blue, but still font size will be from here. So inline has more capacity, or we can say like top-down approach, basically, like has more priority than external CSS. Or whatever, wherever you are placed, maybe by the place, let's suppose style you are writing before the link, then might be link will have overridden. Okay, so that might happen. Okay, so understood. So what I'm telling now you will see the view, it is 30 font size, but style is blue because that inline CSS has overridden. Okay, inline CSS has overridden. Okay, so that is one thing. Understood what I'm trying to tell? Okay, so this is inline CSS. Next is, sorry, it's internal CSS. Now, inline internal CSS has no need to write any external file. In same file, you can write no additional of, if you are writing any external files means it's like a calling HTTP call, like calling that file or referencing that file. So it's like a reading that file, opening that file, and then presenting, creating all the data and all to this file, right? So it's like a some calls type of thing, HTTP calls. So it might happen like, yeah, that CSS file is still in your server. So once I'll talk about server, no, that time one topic is there called server side rendering and client side rendering. Okay, so at that time I'll discuss more on this, like why it's the second line is showing no additional HTTP request for a CSS file. So what does it mean? I will discuss only on the server side. When I'll go to server teaching, no, Node.js and all, that time I'll teach you what is this about. What is this HTTP calls? Okay. Now, if both are present, internal CSS has higher priority. Okay, means it's trying to say like if it is external CSS and if it is internal CSS has more priority than external CSS. Understood? So that is one thing to be noted. Disadvantage are styles are limited to only one page. Okay, it can't be applied in other page. Again, other page means again you have to write the same style or you have to copy paste there also. That is one thing. Okay, HTML size it increase already we know because if we are adding same thing in the top then the size will increase, right? So that is disadvantage or harder to manage we can say. Okay, this is one way, another way of including CSS. Next way is direct including to tag. Okay, direct instead of writing either any style tag or creating any CSS, direct writing in the tag itself, like okay, h1 tag needs a style as color blue text line center, so directly we are adding here. Some more is required, some more we'll add. Okay, same way in the paragraph directly with the attribute label basically. So attribute label is style as color red or more than again we'll apply. So now what happens, this inline CSS has more power than internal CSS because internal CSS will be on the top, right, before body. So that will apply. But inside body, in the tag, again one styling is mentioned. So now this styling will override that styling also. Understood? So it's more powerful, but it is very worse to use this. Because to maintain this, no, it will be very difficult for you. Like let's suppose here also you're writing color blue, here also you're writing color blue, here also all where you're writing color blue. Let's suppose one you have to change, okay, all the paragraphs should be color red. Then again what will? Again you'll change everywhere color red, color red. So it's very hard to maintain this. Okay, understood? It's very hard to maintain this. Only we'll go for like when this type of inline CSS, see, always we'll say inline CSS is always used for testing and debugging purpose. So what we do generally when we do the designing, first we like we have written some design, some styling we have written. But if you want to make more proper styling, what we do, we go to the browser, whatever applied. We go to the browser. In browser itself, we are doing the CSS. I'll show you how to do. Then that denotes as a inline CSS. Now, or else you are writing the same CSS here inline, and then later, like once you did testing and all, like okay, whatever the view you want, that view is coming now. Then what you do, you copy that entire CSS and either paste it into the new file, the file which you have external, or paste it in the style, so that it's a final kind of things. Right, because why I'm saying is like if you will follow like in out external or internal, no? Like you have every time you have to scroll and do there again scroll and check there, so all those things will be there. So what people will do, somehow styling they will apply, but to make it exact styling, they will write inline CSS and later once the finalized view will come, then they will copy the entire properties and keep it in the external or internal. So that's why we'll call it as inline CSS is always used for debugging and testing purposes. Okay, so what that means is I'll try to show you. Like first of all, I'll show the uses. Like I'm just writing here attribute now. Okay, style as let's suppose a background color, right? So background color as yellow. Okay. Now, if we go and see, we can see like background color as yellow, something has been done. Okay. Now, let's suppose I'm feeling like, okay, this style is not proper. Like it should be some more things. Like I have applied, some of the style I have applied. But again, who will go and again write here, right? It's difficult. Like again, you will go here, write here. Again, you will go to this page. Again, you will check. Again, you will go to this page. Again, you will write one style. Again, you go to this page. Again, you will see the view. So it's a hectic for us, right? So what we do, we'll do here inspect. Okay, we go to respective body and p tag. Now see in the p tag when you click now, you can see the styling which you have provided. So this is from index.html. I think this is from the maybe this is index.html means it's an internal CSS, right? It is index.css means external CSS. So see this external CSS is overridden by blue. That's why it's written cut, because external CSS it was red, but internal it was blue. So this got deducted. This was wipe out. So that's why it's written cut. Even though I have written, but it's not applying to this page. Understood? Okay. Now, again after this, now element styling. So background color as yellow. So I'm feeling this yellow is not good. Right, I wanted to change some other color or some different styling I wanted to provide for this paragraph. So let's, and I'll give you, like this type of tags I'll give you. Like I'll give you one button and I'll give you some designed, already designed button. So you have to bring here and you have to design here itself. Okay, so you can design. Let's suppose I just wanted to add some more, then just click here and just right click here, or else click down. Okay, you will get one properties and key value writing pair. So you can just write, let's suppose I don't want blue because with yellow blue is not suiting. So I might use yellow with red. So again I'll do red. So I'll just write color as red. Now see, automatically it's if reflecting. Okay, now I want, okay, it's a very big paragraph. So whatever somewhere it's written, I won't bother. I'll just write my on this one. What is that? Font size. So I'll just do small or some, let's suppose, what is that? 10 px I'm writing. So now it becomes small. So direct you are doing here, you are checking the output, doing here, checking the output. And once you feel like, okay, now it is okay. This is only the view I wanted in my web page. So it's not like this got reflected in your VS Code. No, 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 not like that. Just you have added testing purpose. You have tested. Okay, you have debugged and tested. Okay, whatever designs are coming, that is final design for me. Now what you do, you just copy this entire. Copy this entire, go to this, either place it in a style or else place it in this place. Like that. Understood? So now you reload, it will be the same. No problem. So whatever view you wanted, you are seeing here. Got it? So this is the use of inline style. So if anyone will tell inline is bad or something, don't bother about them. Okay, it's not bad. It's just the application where we can use each of the stylings techniques. Like in what stage we can go for external, in what stage, in which scenario we can go for internal, and which scenario we can go for inline. So all has their own purposes and they have created by that own purposes only. Nothing has been created anything wrong or it's something like we are not good. It's not good. It has different scenarios. Okay, got it? Inline CSS. Okay, so advantage is no need to write separate CSS file. It's mentioned here, highest specificity or priority, because as I told, like everything it will ignore if you have written inline CSS. External, internal, all it will ignore. Whatever you have written in that inline, that only will be applied. Okay, good for debugging and temporary styling changes. I told you, I explained also, and I did that demo also, right? So whatever view you want, you do, and then later place it in VS Code. It will be easy for you. No need to change, go and see, change, go and see. So all those things you no need to do, right? So that is one thing. But disadvantage is, as we know, like styling will be repeated because same element you are writing, one element color red, again element color red. So better than that, you write one class and add it color red. That is best approach, right? So that is limited. And the large amount of inline CSS makes HTML messy because you not never know, like 1,000 elements are there and 1,000 places you are making that CSS inline. How difficult is to manage in the future, right? First you have to check that element, search that element, you have to go and change again. So all those hectics will be there. So that is the reason we won't recommend, only recommend for debugging purpose or to make it finalized view purpose. Okay, so all those things we can do. I think, yeah, that's it for today. We can close it. I think you have got much knowledge on CSS inline. Tomorrow we'll see, like, see, first tab we have checked, remember, like we have checked very beautiful things like layout, appearance, and behavior. So based on that, now we are going to decide what are the properties can be applied based on this category, because all these properties, no, has been categorized into this category. Okay, like in the layout, what properties will fall, in for appearance, what properties will fall, for behavior, what properties will fall. So all those things I have divided properly, and I have created the document. Okay, so all those things I'm just solely keeping in this layout. Okay, understood? So in next class we'll be keep on checking. I'll stop the class.